Good morning. My name is Cherie Enns, and I teach in Global Development Studies and Geography and the Environment. And I really am excited to see this many people here this morning. Sometimes Friday morning in the summer when there's few classes is a bit of a hard sell. But what I realized is that whoever comes this morning is as committed and excited and as enthusiastic about addressing this global challenge as we all are that we're involved in getting the conference ready. So today, really what I'm doing is just welcoming you to be part of an intimate and dynamic conversation. And so with that, I'll pass it over to Jeremy.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeremy Wagner. I'm a student intern here at the University of the Fraser Valley. So while today promises to facilitate cross-cutting discussion surrounding our urban food systems globally, one piece of this event that I'm incredibly grateful to have been a humble part of is the undergraduate research that UFV students have been conducting in East Africa. UFV's partnership with the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Scholarship Program, or QES, is giving undergraduate students world-class learning opportunities in East Africa through funding research on food security and food system sustainability. These opportunities allow students to take what they've learned in traditional classroom settings and apply it to issues on the far side of this increasingly globalized and interconnected public sphere. Issues can't tidily fit within departments or disciplines, nor can we truly learn about them through the lens of an overhead projector. Problems in the public sphere are best learned about through direct engagement, where collaboration and cross-cultural exchange results in differing ideas around what problems exist, how these problems are constructed, and how policies should be crafted to solve them. I believe there's no better time to build these global knowledge-sharing networks than at the undergraduate level, when young professionals have their entire careers to capitalize and build upon them. On a personal note, I would like to thank the QES program for funding 24 UFV-affiliated undergraduate students, including myself, to East Africa, and 8 graduate or PhD students from East Africa to the Fraser Valley to learn about and contribute to the development of secure and sustainable food systems. I'd also like to thank our partners, Arthi Regional University in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and the East African Institute at Aga Khan University in Nairobi, Kenya, for hosting and mentoring UFV undergraduate students. Presentations and discussions here today by fellow QE scholars I think will demonstrate that these sorts of partnerships that facilitate globalized applied learning are worthwhile, and that undergraduate research can play a humble yet important role in informing the sustainable development of our food systems. And at this point, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Vice Provost and Associate Vice President Academic, Dr. Peter Geller.
Good morning, everyone. It's great, as Cherie had said, to see so many people here. I noticed we had to put more seats at the back, and then everyone sat at the back, and the empty seats at the front are still waiting for you to come and sit down. So if there are still a few people standing, feel free to come to the front row there. So first, I would like to begin by acknowledging that we're here on the unceded traditional territory of the Stalo peoples, and it also acknowledge especially our closest neighbors, the Matsqui and the Sumas First Nations. The Stalo have an intrinsic relationship with Soch-Tamuk, the sacred land, and we express our gratitude and our respect for the honor of living and working in this territory. And it is important to us at UFV that we do acknowledge and enjoy and understand that our learning and the exchange that happens here is here on Stalo territory. Some of the specific partners have been acknowledged and mentioned by Jeremy, and I just want to welcome the many visitors here today. Some have come from afar in terms of around the world, and others have come afar in terms of like Ottawa and places further east, and we're grateful to our visitors and coming and joining us. And I'd also like to recognize the value that we hold here at the University of the Fraser Valley for internationalizing our university. We're actually just currently engaged in a strategic planning process on internationalization and coming up with some more maybe more well thought out goals. So that's an important role that we're doing. And we have students on that committee, for example. So that's the heart of it, I think, is really expanding opportunities for our students. We have many international students who come to UFV, and we can do a lot more work on having opportunities for our students and our students taking advantage of those opportunities to travel and become real global citizens. So we'll hear from some of them, the East Africa interns, some supported by the Queen Elizabeth Scholars and the Aga Khan Foundation, and they're going to share their knowledge from that research and learning experience in Tanzania and Kenya. And so again, welcome and thank the scholars from who are working in East Africa and here today, and also our faculty members and fellow students, and then the many visitors that we have from the community. So really, really excited to see this event. This is really what we want UFV to do and to be. In thinking about the work in front of us in terms of foods and cities, food security, globally, locally, sustainability, that sort of thing, I was reminded of a story from my time in northern Manitoba. And my partner, Pam, was working on a food security initiative with a number of communities in the north and with Manitoba Hydro. And of course, Manitoba Hydro, they have a vested interest in working with the Indigenous communities in the north as they do further hydro development. And so there was an idea came up that Manitoba Hydro would sponsor freezers for the communities in the north. And, you know, they would help to increase food storage and access to food year-round. So my partner Pam was visiting the various communities, and she was in Puckatawaga, a northern Cree community about 700 kilometers north of Winnipeg, accessible by rail and plane, no drive-in, quite isolated. And so they were talking about this, and one of the women she was speaking with a group of women in the community, and one of the women started sharing her thoughts, and she only spoke Korean, so through the translator, she said, "Oh, those, we call them stingy boxes." And my wife was, you know, "Well, could you explain a bit more? What does that mean?" And the woman explained that in her community, when someone is successful in procuring food and harvesting and hunting, then they bring that back, the caribou, the moose, they share it, and everyone eats. But that box to store your food for yourself, that's a stingy box. So I was recently visiting a group in Seabird Island First Nation with a group from UFV, and we had a tour of their community health and wellness center, and there they had what they called their traditional food bank, the traditional food bank. And this was a place where community members came together to can meat, to preserve berries, and then they would share that with the community. So I think, you know, this is really just about the importance, and I think you all know that, but that's what we're going to focus on today, of what does food security really mean to communities and people themselves. And that's whether we're working with Indigenous communities in northern Manitoba, or Indigenous communities here in the Fraser Valley, or whether we're working in Nairobi or Dar es Salaam. Really the value of the work, working with and talking with and in partnership with community. And so that's as we speak and dialogue today, I really look forward to that, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all.
So the next speaker that I would like to introduce to you has been a community advocate for the past 20 years. She's been involved in many social justice projects and has volunteered with the Fraser Valley Indo-Canadian Business Association. She's also a member of the Senate with the University of the Fraser Valley as an ex officio member of the UFV Alumni Board, and is a member of the advisory board for the Center for Indo-Canadian Studies, as well as the Community for Literacy Action Committee. It is my pleasure to introduce you, Councillor Kelly Chahal.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to join you today. It's a pleasure to be here to represent and bring greetings from the City of Abbotsford and City Council. I think there couldn't be a better place to host a Cities and Food Conference, so welcome everyone. With a rich agriculture heritage and most productive agricultural land in all of Canada, Abbotsford is the heart of food production in British Columbia. Our city is the largest municipality in BC by land area. Isn't that amazing? and 75% of that land base is in the agricultural land reserve. This provides our community with great opportunities to be connected to the food that is produced. Our draft official community plan, which is in the final stages of completion, pushes this connection even further with a vision of our rich agricultural identity being felt more strongly in urban areas, where community gardens and other forms of agricultural initiatives take root, where local markets and food culture flourish. It also means that we have a strong responsibility to support and enhance agriculture by producing and protecting our land, encouraging innovation and responding in proactive ways to trends that are developing. Currently, at the City of Abbotsford, we are undertaking an agricultural review project called Ag Refresh that reflects the city's commitment to ensuring integrity of agriculture. Combined with our city's unique character and position with the University of the Fraser Valley's innovative local and global research, as well as the university's strong international relationships, we're in the right place to discuss the ways in which urban food systems can be developed securely and sustainably. Today's conference also speaks to the importance of working together. From educational institutions across the world to industry professionals, various levels of governments, NGOs, funders, partners, and students, you are all here in the spirit of collaboration, willing to share your ideas, inspire, and form partnerships that will enhance lives and environments locally and globally. I'd like to thank UFV and the Agriculture Centre of Excellence for hosting this conference. The City of Abbotsford is proud to be home to the University of the Fraser Valley, and we value the contributions that you bring to our local and international community. And special thanks to all of the participants and speakers. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and for being passionate about your work. Together, you will advance our understanding today of cities and food. So enjoy the conference. Thank you.
It's my pleasure and honor to welcome our president at UFV, Dr. Mark Everett, to come and give another formal welcome. And so we're welcoming you to welcome, sorry. But as he comes, I would like to say something on perhaps a more personal note, is that not only is he known for his teaching and his own research, and he's led this university over the last few years, I personally want to thank him for how much interest he shows in all of the undergraduate research that takes place here, as well as faculty that are involved with the research. And for me, you've been an inspirational president, so welcome.
Well, thank you, Cherie. I don't know how I follow that. But before I begin to do the formal bit where I thank all of you and welcome our visitors, let me tell you about some wonderful visitors I have in my home right now. Many of you know I just live over here, just to the edge of the campus. And my daughter from Saskatoon is visiting, my youngest daughter, here with her two children, one 3.5-year-old boy and a little 6-week-old girl. There's a 2-week-old, there's a little 8-week-old fellow here, I think, just 2 weeks older than my daughter around here. Where have you put him? Over there. They're like magnets, aren't they? But I watched them having breakfast this morning. So the little 3.5-year-old boy is digging into a bowl of cereal with some fruit in it. The 6-week-old is nursing, having breakfast courtesy of my daughter. And I'm having breakfast and viewing this scene and thinking how incredibly lucky we are. And I use the word luck because in our part of the world, we have a tendency to take credit for everything good that happens to us, and we forget the role of fortune. Whether it's that genetic lottery, that mixture of bits of DNA that meant we were born and not someone else, the fact that we were born here, the fact that we were born into families that had the resources that enabled us to grow up and develop healthy brains and healthy bodies to do what we now currently do and get to eat breakfast regularly. But I also happen to know, and thank you, Peter, for your introduction, your recognition that we are on the traditional territory of the Stalo people. I happen to know, as Peter and others in this room know, that within a 100-mile radius, and I choose that because we talk a lot about 100-mile diets, let's talk about 100-mile starvation. Within a 100-mile radius, there are children who won't get breakfast. There will be mothers who will try to nurse their babies, but will not be able to do so very successfully because they didn't get breakfast and their nutrition wasn't good. And any milk they can produce is drawing on badly needed resources for that mom. We know that there are children going to school hungry. And that's why I am so grateful, Dr. Awiti, Dr. Crush, for the many other people who have come here from around the world, from Europe, from Universities Canada. So grateful to the Aga Khan Foundation, so grateful to the Scholars Program that's enabled us to share right here in the heart of Abbotsford a very important conversation, sharing knowledge, sharing experience, sharing ideas, helping us solve our problems locally as well as beyond. You know, we sometimes gather and we think, oh, isn't this great? We're going to talk about troubles elsewhere in the world and what we might contribute. But there are troubles in our own community. There are troubles in our own cities. I've been to cities all over the world, and I have yet to visit a city where there weren't people struggling with starvation. And this is vital. This is personal, folk. We each share in a responsibility. We can do our own little bit, but collectively, sharing our ideas, sharing our knowledge, we can do something really quite remarkable. We need to do it. I am so very, very grateful that you've devoted your time to this extremely important issue. And I look forward to hearing your ideas. We desperately need them. So thank you very, very much on behalf of the University of the Fraser Valley. I'm going to have to pop in and out all day, but I look forward to more discussions. Thank you.